It started in a living room like this.
They're drinking a lot of water? Like, why are they taking care of themselves so much?
So my mom took wrestling away from me during the Attitude Era.
Yeah. When I was about 10 years old, he super kicked me right in the front tooth.
We're good.
Cool.
Thanks for hanging out with me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
What was your earliest let me start over again, because that's not right. What was your earliest memory of professional wrestling?
Oh, jeez. For me, I'm a bit older than Nick. I'm about 4 years older, so I remember being 2 or 3, and my mom and dad showing me, I think it was Hogan and Andre WrestleMania, WrestleMania 3, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I just fell in love with the Hulkster. So I was just like, God, that guy's cool.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it with my dad, and then after that, I was just like, let's go to Blockbuster Video, let's get them all.
Yeah.
We just watched, we rented every video, and I was hooked.
The old Coliseum home
Oh
videos.
my gosh.
That's right.
Yeah.
We rented all of them. So
Every single one on the
my
shelf.
memories are probably the exact same as him.
So I probably introduced him to it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hey, buddy, little brother, check this out.
Right.
Yeah.
Nick, as the younger brother, were you subjected to? Did Matt toss you around a little bit?
Are you kidding?
Were you all the pile
the
drivers
time.
and such?
Oh.
It
Jeez.
started in a living room like this.
Yeah.
We would jump off the couches, of course. We would move the tables.
Tell him about what
Do
happened.
flips off. What incident?
Yeah,
'Cause
tell
there's
him
a
the
ton of them. Well, we have a younger brother actually too.
Yeah.
And are you talking about this one?
I was going to talk about the
Yeah.
time I busted your tooth.
Oh, that's right. That's another one. Man, there's so many stories that we have, but a reason why we loved the super kick was probably because of this reason. When I was about 10 years old, he super kicked me right in the front tooth, and I knocked out 2 of these teeth.
Yeah,
Oh
knocked
my
him out. My
God.
parents came in. What happened? Like they put the teeth in like a glass of milk and like, we'll save it.
Yeah.
We'll save it.
And 20 years later, who would have thought that that would be the move that we love most?
We didn't save the tooth. He had to get
No.
these are fake.
Really?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
So my mom took wrestling away from me during the Attitude Era.
Sure. Yeah.
We had that too. Yeah.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you.
They tried.
Yeah.
But
I snuck it too.
oh yeah.
Well, that's what made it cool though, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh my God, is anybody watching? Like this is so cool. This is edgy. You know?
Yeah.
I remember watching Nitro, same thing, because like it was pretty adult oriented. So, but that made me like kind of curious.
Yep.
I learned a lot about life watching pro wrestling.
Me
you
too.
know? Yeah, like
Were you guys because every school has like the kids who get known as the wrestling kids.
Yes.
Like
Oh,
I was that kid.
Well, we were worse. We were the backyarder kids because we would wrestle in the backyard, and we had a wrestling ring in our backyard that was built by our dad.
Right.
And so we had an actual ring, 20 by 20, and we would invite the kids over to watch us wrestle. So all the kids at school
they
knew.
knew. Those are the guys with the ring in their backyard. But even before that, like I remember just trying to impress people and be like, oh, I'm like hardcore wrestler McFoley, and I'd grab a stapler and just like staple my arm in class. like I would like body slam my friends outside during lunch on the grass. Like I just wanted everyone to know, like
We
I'm
would
a
do
wrestler.
backflips
you know?
all the time as well,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Stunts.
Yeah, I saw your Matt. I think it was your son on Instagram posing with your action figures.
Yeah.
How like trippy is that
It's
to have your own action figures that your kids can play with?
What's crazy is like when I was a little boy, when I got into it, we were talking about earlier. My dad also grabbed like those big LJN rubber figures, the hard ones.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I still have them to this day. Like my mom had them all, and my son Zachary was getting into wrestling, and he's like he wanted the toys. I'm like, well, let's go to Grandma's house and grab them, you know. So she had this whole suitcase of them, and he's just playing with these big LJN figures. So then sooner or later, LJN hits me up, and they're like, we want to bring them back. We want to do you guys. And I was like, no way. So they did, and we got these. So we have our own big rubber ones now. So now it's like he's got the Young Bucks in this corner. He's got Hulk Hogan in this corner. Randy Savage and Mega Powers versus the Young Bucks. It's like it's pretty cool seeing that. It's pretty surreal. Yeah.
Both of you have kids.
Mm.
You came up to wrestling stardom the hard way. You haven't taken the easy path.
Right.
Knowing what you know about wrestling and all of its pitfalls, along with all of the great stuff about it, would you encourage your kids if they wanted to be in pro wrestling?
Man, we struggle with this every day.
Yeah.
Because we already see our kids wanting to do what we already do, like Matt was saying with the action figures and stuff. So both of our boys really love it. My daughter loves it too. So it's such a tough business, but if they want to do it, we're gonna definitely help them get to it, right?
I always like talk to my wife about this because
Yeah.
she knows how tough this life is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think he's gonna get into it. It's just a phase. And she just looks at me like, come on. He's 4. You know he's you. Of course he's gonna be a wrestler. So I hope that if they do decide to do it, that they come to us and for advice, and I think we could tell them what we know, and I just want them to be safe, and I want them and like guide your heart, because this is a dark business too at times. It could be, and we've come we've kind of like shined a light on the darkness in this professional wrestling business. Like I remember when we first got into the business, there was like was a rule like you can't have kids in the wrestling business. If you're gonna be in wrestling, you got to be on steroids.
You got to be on
all
drugs.
these stupid things, and we were like, no, like we're family Christian men. You know, this is who we are. Why can't we have it all, right?
Yeah.
And we've done it. And I hope that they take a similar path, because there's a lot of like back in the 90s, early 2000s, a lot of wrestling tragedies you hear about. And like we grew up and we watched a lot of our heroes just dying, or you read these books about all the bad stuff that's happened to them. And it's like, let's learn from this. Like historically, wrestlers, man, they've had some tough lives post stardom. Yeah. Let's be different. So I hope our kids, if they want to do it, they do it the right way too. Yeah.
In terms of just that light side of wrestling and guys who are on the right path, staying healthy, is that stuff at AEW, like you look at those guys and you want guys who not only just meet talent-wise what you want, but also as part of a culture at AEW? Is that something you look at?
Absolutely.
I feel like we've picked probably the same like guys and girls with the same attitude as us for this business. So I feel like not even just AEW. I feel like this whole generation of wrestlers have learned from the past mistakes, and I feel like there's not many tragedies anymore because we've learned from it.
Well, we're all dorks now, like, right? Like you go to the back now and you're like, what are they? What, they're just playing on their video games or their phones, or they're doing yoga, and like, they're drinking a lot of water. Like, why are they taking care of themselves so much? Pre-workout, but like it's funny, like everyone's taking vitamins now. It's just a different culture though. But I think it like. That's just what it's like now, right? In the world, like we all kind of like take better care of ourselves. Yeah. So it's kind of happening, I think, in professional wrestling as well.
You've been doing this for a long time now, even though you're young guys, young bucks. Yeah. Do you feel like you're still learning about pro wrestling, just the in-ring stuff?
Yes. I mean,
not even just that though. It's the new things that we didn't even realize we would have to learn by starting a new company, because there's so many different things that we had to learn on the fly pretty much. So it's crazy because we've been doing it for 15 years, but it feels like we learn something new every show.
It's the hardest thing in the world.
But you know, that's what makes it fun, because you haven't, challenging. You haven't conquered the business yet. You want to learn and learn more and more about it. So
as soon as I feel like really like confident, I'm like, man, we know what we're doing, right? Like we go out there and something just doesn't click or work. I'm like, why didn't that work? It's worked for 5 years. Like you're always learning every single day, especially with this job now. I'm learning so much about this that I never would have appreciated. It's like 10 years ago, like I would have had no idea how hard a job like this was.
Yeah. Well, what I love about you guys in AEW is that when I talked to Cody a couple months ago, he said, we welcome criticism. We want to know what fans want. We want to change, make the product better. Sure. Have you guys heard something in your few events so far, anything that you've changed to make the product better, and what would that be?
I mean, you had, so this is tricky, because like, if you feed too much into it and you change everything after just having a couple of shows, then you give them too much control.
The beast grows,
right? So you have to really survey and think about, well, did this work or did this not work? Because I was there live and the crowd went crazy. The live audience went nuts for that thing. Yeah. But then I go online and it's the opposite. So it's like, it's really tricky. It's like this weird mind game. But I mean, of course, we read everything. We do everything. We study and we want to know what's best. So
you read everything?
I mean,
God.
Don't read everything. Not so much anymore. I've learned, like, after having this job, I stopped reading as much.
I deleted my Twitter app because of that.
Me too. Like, a lot of it is just toxic to be toxic, and what we're doing is disrupting the professional wrestling business. So you're going to get a lot of people that are negative, and so you have to like kind of like go, okay, what's an actual good, what's constructive criticism, and what's someone just trying to bury us because they don't like what we're doing, right? So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those tricky things. You have to try to read through and see what you can actually change, and then if you take it to a room and you go, listen, all these people said that this sucked.
Yeah.
Let's change it, or let's move with it. You
Yeah.
know? But we have a pretty good idea of what we want, and I think if we change it too much, it wouldn't stay true to what our vision is. So.
There's a little bit of a gear change, but I noticed you both had Disney vacations recently.
Oh, yeah.
Are you big Disney guys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Big time.
I did Disney World for 5 days straight. It was too much.
Yeah.
Because I have 2 kids, and oh my goodness, by the time we were on day 5, I was like, okay, this was overwhelming.
Yeah.
My back was way more sore than a wrestling match for like 5 days straight. So
Yeah, I just got home
but
yesterday.
it was a blast.
I got home yesterday to
You
do
did Disneyland,
but
yeah.
I mean, I've had season passes for 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
I just me and my wife Dana, we've gone since I've known her. So yeah, we're just big.
I used to work at Disney World.
Oh, really?
I drove trams in the Magic
Oh, right
Kingdom
on.
parking lot.
Okay.
That was also exhausting.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Just the humidity all day long. Work. Like,
Just dealing with people all day like
and-
that too.
Right, yeah, especially in the parking lot, because when you're out there, if someone like didn't have like their eggs made exactly the way they wanted, you're
Sure.
the first person that they see after that, and you're the
Oh,
first
yeah.
person they take
Yeah.
it out on.
yeah, that's tough.
Were you big Disney afternoon fans when you were growing up?
I was.
Yeah.
I always watched it early in the morning before school too. Like they had some Disney stuff too locally.
Yeah.
It's just huge. I've always been a big Disney kid.
Is it being still you guys have some veterans at AEW. Is it odd being a boss to guys who have more experience than you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like telling Jericho what to do?
Yes.
Like, you know what though? Like, I don't ever want to come across as like a boss. Like, like this all feels to me more like a collaboration.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like, I'm never gonna go to someone, especially like a Jericho type.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be ridiculous, right? Like, I want to go to him and go, look, this is what we want. What do you think? How do we make this best? Because I know a guy like him, like
It's all about
he knows what
your
he's doing.
approach to it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, so we collaborate, and then we kind of like scope the perfect idea, and then we figure it out together. Like, I don't want to be that company where it's like one man decides what everyone does, because it just won't work.
Which company would you be referring to?
I mean, not even necessarily in wrestling. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like the best work we've ever done has always been as a collaboration.
Yeah.
Like
That's
whether
what being the elite.
that's what I was
is.
gonna say.
Yeah. It was all
Yeah.
a collaboration, and that's what made it. So we have to do very similar things like that.
Yeah, like we never go up to Hangman Page and be like, do this bit, say it like this. We'll
Yeah.
go, we have this idea, what do you think?
Yep.
And then we all just kind of, it's like a writer's room for
Yeah.
everything. It's fun.
Did you, when you were younger, as I love now, some of the younger wrestlers have photos of some of their heroes
Yeah.
from when they used to wait outside wrestling events.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories of guys you met way back that you've now gotten to wrestle and work
Yes.
with?
I went to Halloween Havoc 2000 in Las Vegas at the MGM, which we actually just did a show there, Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Which was kind of one of those fun moments where I'm like, I sat here,
As a
19 years
fan,
ago.
yeah.
Oh my God. And I just so happened to see a bunch of the wrestlers kind of checking in. And I saw Rey Mysterio, and I was like, oh my God. Because that was like one of my heroes, 'cause he's a little guy. And
Yeah.
I was pretty little at the time. I still am. I'm an average sized guy. But back then, like, I was probably seeing eye to eye with him, And I was like, he's so little, but he's so great. And he said some encouraging words to me. I don't want to misquote, but it was
Right.
something just like 'cause I said, I'm like, dude, I didn't realize, you were my size. That makes me like believe that maybe I can do this one day. And he just said something great to me that stuck with me forever. It's just like, I can do it too if Ray can do it.
Yeah.
And I told him the story recently because we'd wrestled a few times. We wrestled at All In actually.
Yeah.
And he was just such a sweetheart about that. He's just like, I'm so glad that if I'm part of any of the success or motivated you to do this, that makes me feel amazing. And what a sweet guy. That same day, it's funny. I don't know if this is like something that comes back to haunt me later, but Booker T's got his roller bag, and he kind of just walked right past me with my hand stuck out. And he didn't mean to be like a jerk or anything.
Yeah.
It was just like one of those things. Like, I don't think he saw me. But then later on in life, like I kind of got him back, and I didn't realize I did it to him. So it was like two of these situations that kind of just like crossed over. It's kind of funny, now that you think about it in retrospect.
Well, what I love about you guys is that, and all of the elite are so good with the fans, and it just means so much to, like what Ray did with you when you grew up. I had a moment when I was a kid, 16, drove to Philadelphia and stood outside of a bar at a hotel. There's a bar hotel right by where the Spectrum used to be in Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah.
And I could see Rikishi in there. In retrospect, he was there with his kids, who are now, of course, the Usos,
Wow.
running around in there. But he may have refused to come out to sign autographs.
Okay.
But the Blue Meanie was out there, and that dude was just hustling, handing out flyers, and he posed for photos. And I see him; he's always in Philadelphia now.
Yeah.
So I see him, and I get to say, like, thank you. Like, it as a wrestling fan, it made me feel like
That's cool.
Like I had access to you, and it just meant so much that
Yes.
I had just seen SmackDown and paid all this money to see a guy who wouldn't come out and take photos, but this guy who's wrestling in the bingo halls took all the time. And I love that you guys are the same way.
Oh yeah, we Hulk Hogan. The first time we ever met him, he was so friendly to us, and I remember after a show. It was at TNA at Universal Studios backlot. We saw him walk into his car, and some young kid came by to say hi. And it was after an 8 to 10 hour day of TV, which are exhausting.
Yeah.
And he was so friendly to this little kid.
Yeah.
And I remember Matt and I saw that. We're like, man, that's crazy that Hulk is still nice to these young fans. And then Roddy Piper was another one.
He was great with fans.
He took like 10 minutes each with each person at this autograph signing that had a line for probably about 5 to 6 hours. So when we saw legends like that giving time to each and every one of the fans, we were like, we have to be like that.
Yeah.
And we have to keep it that way. So
And it's great because, like, when you meet these fans, like you just said, like you get to know these people and they get to know you on a personal level.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're on this worldwide campaign where you're literally shaking hands and kissing babies. And when it's like I told Nick this, like we grew our empire going from town to town to town, meeting these fans, because as soon as they have one great like conversation with you, it's a memory they remember forever. Like you just remember this thing with Meanie, right? Like, and he's a great guy, I know him.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like we've touched a lot of people, and now it's like we've built this empire off of that. Like it's real like old school. Like I think if you could take time with your fans, man, it pays off in the long run.
Well, here it is. It's paid off for you
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. Here's All Elite Wrestling. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank
Right
you
on,
so
dude.
much, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
We want to set a new standard for all of pro wrestling.
This is a revolution.
I want a match that is awesome.
It's a show for wrestling fans by wrestlers.
I need to know. I said nothing.
And I just died right here.
Oh, you don't drink it all the way down?
No regrets. There's nothing where I'm like, you know what I really wish I would have done?
Autographed every part of the human body.
I love it. I cannot wait till the cameras are rolling.